So good day everyone. My name is General Dancia Espina. So today I will discuss all about Bandura and his work, which is a social cognitive theory. But first, let us define who is Albert Bandura. So Albert Bandura, born on December 4, 1925, a Canadian American resident, studied in the University of British Columbia and University of Iowa, research and taught at Stanford University. Then he is also famous for the research on social learning theories. Then most learning is gained by people's perception and thinking about what they experience and learn by copying the examples of others around them. So he is also the founder, or he makes the social learning theory. Then later on, he changed it and make it as a social cognitive theory because he added some what do you call that, cognitive factors. Then he is also famous of the Bobo doll experiment. And let's define what is social cognitive theory. Social cognitive theory, Albert Bandura agrees with the behaviorist learning theories of classical conditioning and operant conditioning. However, he adds two more important ideas, which is the meditating process occur between stimuli and responses. Then the next is the behavior is learned from the environment through the process of observational learning. His early work on learning was grounded on the behavioral principles of reinforcement and punishment, but he added a focus on learning from observing others. This was labeled as a social learning theory. Then later on, focus on cognitive factors such as beliefs, self-perceptions, and expectations. His theory is now called the social cognitive. So, according to this, his early work is based from the other behaviorists, uh, from their behavioral principle of reinforcement and punishment. Then, uh, he added some spice to this theory and add a observe have a learning, or it is he added a focus on learning from observing others, uh, that was being labeled as a social learning theory. Then later on, as what I read, uh, he changed it, or he focused on the cognitive factors such as beliefs, self-perceptions, and expectations. Then from social learning theory, he he the theory is now called a social cognitive theory, a theory which focus on the behavioral principles of reinforcement and punishment plus the social cognitive factors. Next, human beings have specific abilities related to learning that sets them apart from other species. Uh, Social cognitive theory states that there are three characteristics that are unique to humans. So, in the uh, statement that human beings have specific abilities related to learning that sets them apart from others. The best example is we as a mammals, uh, we humans are being unique from the other mammals such as dogs, cats, and etc. Because we have the specific abilities such as the vicarious consequences, which is a model and imitates others. We can imitate and we can be a model to others, but not what do you call that? But we can model and imitate others, but other mammals can't do, such as dogs. Uh they can't imitate others. They just a dog only. Next is a efficacy, a self-reflection. Animals do not have their what do you call that? Animals do not reflect on themselves. Next is performance standards and moral conduct. So the ability to regulate one's own behavior. So like other animals, we like other animals or other mammals, uh, humans are unique of being a we can regulate our own behavior. Yeah. So next is the Bobodal experiment. So in this slide, just kindly click the link below and able to see or watch the experiment of Albert Bandura regarding on the Bobodal experiment. So after watching the uh, said video, these are the results of Bobodal experiment. So adults recorded being aggressive to the Bobodals. Next, children were shown the video and then allowed to play in the room full of toys. Then the children were aggressive to the Bobo doll just as the adults were in the video. So as you can recall or you watch the Bobo doll experiment of Albert Bandura, uh, uh, adults are played as or yung ginawa doon nung adult in the video is naging aggressive siya doon sa Bobo doll. Ginawa niya parang ano binugbog, hinampas nung di ko alam kung ano makita yun kasi madilim. Basta ginawa parang minaltrato niya yung Bobo doll. Then habang pinapanood yun ng bata. Then later on when the children or when the child gives opportunity to play in that room together with the Bobo doll, they imitate the uh, action of the adults on how they deal or on how they play the Bobo doll. Next, the most notable experiment measured the children's behavior after seeing the human model get rewarded, get punished, or experience no consequences for physically abusing the Bobo doll. Through his research, Bandura observed that components of learning occurs through observation and modeling. So as yung katulad nga na sabi ko kanina na yung the research of Bandura being observed that the components of learning and observation and modeling behavior. So uh, pagiging huwaran and then pagiging modelo dahil dun sa ginawa nung ah dahil sa experiment na yon, nakita yung pagiging yung observation, yung observational tawag ulit, observational behavior nung bata dun sa napanood niya. Next, they were far less likely to imitate if they saw the adult model being punished or reprimanded for their hostile behavior. As what I said lately, several studies involving television, commercials, and videos containing violent scenes have supported this theory of modeling. So, may great factor din yung panonood ng television such as kaya nga 'di ba nagkaroon ng MTRCB which regulates the yung mga pinapalabas dun sa TV. If it is rated G, it is good for all. Then rated PG needs a parental guidance. Then SPG, the strong parental guidance. So I think siguro na ginawa yon kasi nga based on Albert Bandura's theory or Albert Bandura's experiment na kung ano yung napapanood ng bata sa TV ay kalamitang ginagaya. Kaya siguro kaya nagkaroon ng regulatory commission. Tama ba ako? Basta 'yon. Basta nagkaroon ng commission regarding on kung ano yung ipapalabas dun sa TV, kung ano ba siya, kung G, rated PG, or rated SPG. Next. Interestingly, the experimenters found in the same-sex aggressive groups, boys were more likely to imitate physical acts or violence, while girls are more likely to imitate the verbal aggression. So, uh, according to this, karaniwan na na-imitate ng mga bata, lalo na kung yung batang yon is lalaki, is yung mga physical acts or violence na nakikita nila sa paligid nila or sa mismong mga tao na nasa paligid nila. Such as halimbawa, ikaw as tatay, then isa ka violente ka, for example. Then nakita ng anak mo 'yon, then sabihin niya na nakikita niya na violente ka, parang nakita niya na tama 'yon. Na parang, sige magiging violent na rin ako kasi nga violent yung tatay ko. I think it is right, kaya gagayahin ko na lang siya. Kaya yun yung kaya isa yun sa isa din yun sa nakita dun sa experiment ng Bobo doll. Next is about the verbal aggression. So, ganun din, same as the females. Kung nakita naman kung ikaw as mother, tas nakita ka ng anak mong babae na madaldal or what do you call that, puro verbal abuses, puro palamura, puro talak, ganun. Parang nakikita din ng anak na na parang natural lang yun, kaya akala nila tama, kaya gagayahin nila. So, next, Bandura and his colleagues believes that the experiment demonstrate how specific behaviors can be learned through observation and imitation. In a follow-up study conducted in 1965, Bandura found that the children were more likely to imitate aggressive behavior if the adult model was rewarded to his or her actions. So, yun nga, na based on 1965 na follow-up study ng Bobo doll theory, nakita na most likely ginagaya ng mga bata yung mga aggressive behavior ng mga matatanda, lalo na kung nakikita nila na may reward to. For example, na ako as kuya, sinapak ko yung kapatid ko. Then nakita ng younger uh, brother ko na ganon. Tapos binigyan ako ng nanay ko. Ang sama naman ng nanay ko. Binigyan ako ng nanay ko ng reward dun sa ginawa ko sa kapatid ko na hindi naman pambubugbog. Palitan natin. Me as kuya, parang ang ginawa is dinisiplina yung nakakababatang kapatid. And then, syempre, hindi naman maiwasan sa pagdidisiplina, gumagamit ng physical abuse or mga physical or aggressional behavior. And then, suddenly na palo ko yung kapatid ko. Then, nakita yun ng mas bata sa amin. Mas younger siblings. And then, after nun, after niya makita yon, tapos biglang dumating yung nanay ko, then, parang binigyan niya ako ng reward, na parang dinisiplina ko yung kapatid ko, ganyan. Sige, ito sa'yo reward. Tapos nakita yun nung nakababata namin kapatid, isipin niya na tama yung ginawa ko, na gumamit ako ng physical or gumamit ako ng aggressive behavior. So, akala niya na tama yun, kaya gagayahin niya. So yun yung result nung follow-up study na ginawa ni Albert Bandura dun sa Bobo doll theory. Next, formated mediational processes by Bandura. First is attention. In attention, we need to have in order to learn through observation, we have to pay attention. In teaching, you will have to ensure students' attention to critical features of the lessons by making clear presentations and highlighting important points. Next, retention. In order to imitate the behavior of a model, you have to remember it. Retention can be improved by mental rehearsal or by actual practice. Next, production. In the production phase, practice makes the behavior smoother and more expert. And lastly, motivation and reinforcement. It anticipates being reinforced by imitating actions of a model. We may be more motivated to pay attention, remember, and reproduce the behavior. Next is the types of learning. So, in types of learning, we have two. The first one is the inactive learning, which defines as learning by doing and is reinforced by the consequences of action outcomes. Next is the vicarious learning, learning by observing others. To sum up all my reports, Albert Bandura focused on the observational on the social learning, social cognitive theory, which involves the observation, So, oh my, through observation. So, it is said that in every action there is always a consequences, or uh, there's always a consequences in the action that we made. So mas maganda nang maingat and then be responsible sa mga ginagawa natin.
Hi, good day everyone. I'm Sofia Nicole de Acera and I'm going to discuss Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. So let us have first a brief background or a brief knowledge about Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget was born on August 9, 1896 in Neuchâtel, Switzerland and died on September 16, 1980 in Geneva, Switzerland. He is a Swiss psychologist famous for his work on children development and the theory of cognitive development. He wrote about 70 books and more than 100 articles about human psychology. And he is essentially considered as a father of development psychology because he developed the first major theory of cognitive development. He also believed that learning was experience-based. In sensory motor stage, it is about from birth to 2 years old. In this stage, children start to gather information about the world through their senses, which is the sight, smell, taste, hear, and touch. Dito nag-i-start yung pagiging active nila, yung pagiging malikot, tas pinsan yung kung anong mahawakan nila, sinusubo agad nila or kinakain agad nila. Mapapansin nyo naman yan kapag may mga pamangkin or kapatid kayo nakababata or mga baby, 'di ba? Ayun agad yung ginagawa nila kapag nakakahawak sila ng ng kahit anong object. In this stage, children start unsacking their thumbs. And also, they are start crawling and walking little by little. And also, they are an object permanence. Meaning, if you give them a teddy bear and you hide it from them, they will not looking for it anymore. Iisipin agad nila na yung bagay na yon is hindi na nag-i-exist. Instead, maghahanap na lang sila ng other thing na pwede na lang paglaruan. Like for example, you give them a book showing pictures of animals. If you show them a figure, for example, dog, they will easily determine that it is a dog, even though they don't know how to write the word dog. In this stage, children start to learn how to speak, understand words, images, gestures, and symbols. Children are also have an object representation. Like for example, they can draw a picture of their family showing their characteristic of each member. Next is egocentric. Children can only imagine about themselves. They do not think about others' point of view. For example, nahihingi ka ng candy sa bata kasi wala kang candy at gusto mo yun. Then, sabi ng bata is ayaw niya kasi nga sa kanya yon at bigay yun ng mama niya. Hindi kanya binigyan kasi ang iniisip niya, sarili niya lang. Di pa sila nag-iisip ng mga bagay na, ay bibigyan ko to kasi wala to. At marami naman akong candy. The last one is curious. Children are curious about life. They will ask you a lot of questions about everything. They love to explore, to experience something new. They want to learn a lot. Yan mga bata kapag naglalaro sila. Kapag may nakita sila na kung ano na hindi nila alam, itatanong nila sa'yo kung paano to, kung paano gamitin to, kung saan ginagamit, ganun. Tatanungin ka nila kung ano-ano. Kung ano lang makita nila, itatanong nila sa'yo. Kasi gusto nila malaman, gusto nila i-try, gusto nila ma-experience yung mga bagay na bago sa paningin nila. The last one is view of others. Here, the children will become less egocentric. They will start to understand someone's point of view exists. Like for example, one of your friend needs help sa kanyang gagawin na assignment. Siyempre ikaw dahil alam mo nahihirapan siya, tutulungan mo. Tutulungan mo yung kaibigan mo, di ba? Ganun na parang iisipin niya na ako rin minsan nahihirapan. Kailangan ko ng tulong. Parang dumaan ka na sa pakiramdam na ganun. So why not help other, di ba? The last or the fourth stage is formal operation or formal operational stage. It is about from 12 years old and beyond. And lastly, children begin to take up social issues. They begin to examine their own morals. Dito nagbi-build yung characteristic ng mga bata because they will meet a lot of different characteristic. They will meet a lot of friends. Some are good, some will become our enemy. We don't know. That's why dito napapalawak yung pag-iisip natin na hindi lahat ng tao ay pare-parehas. Hindi lahat ng nakakasalamuha mo ay totoo. Kaya doon nahahasa, doon, what do you call this? Doon tayo natututo sa mga tao sa paligid natin, sa pagiging observant natin. The third stage is concrete operation or operational stage. It is about from 7 to 11 years old. Children begins to think logically about concrete result. In here stage, most of the children kaya nang mag-solve ng problem. Kaya na nilang kapag nagka-problema sila, parang simple problem, kaya na nilang parang ma-solve. Ayun. The next one is classify. Children are better at classifying objects. For example, differentiating the books and magazine. Kapag binigyan mo sila ng books at magazines, kaya na nilang ma-determine kung alin doon yung book, kung alin doon yung magazine. Children in this stage will start to develop their own sense of identity. They start to think who they are, what they want to be, what what's their place in this world. uh, like for example, uh, some children start to think that uh, I want to be a teacher in the future because I want to help other students to learn. Some children think that they want to uh, graduate college. They want to have a successful work. They want to travel around the world. They want to be a doctor, like that. Here, children start to understand abstract and deductive reasoning. Abstract thinking is the ability to understand concepts that are real, such as freedom or being knowable, which are not directly tied to physical or concrete objects and experiences. And that is all for the four stages of cognitive development theory of John Piaget. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I am Omar S. Agabao, and I am going to report all about Sir Lev Vygotsky's scaffolding. So, who is Lev Vygotsky? Lev Vygotsky was born in Russia in the year of 1896. He died at the young age of 37 due to, due to tuberculosis. Due to his early death, most of his theory were left undeveloped. His work in the last 10 years of his life has become the foundation of much research and theory in cognitive development. So let's define scaffolding. What children can do in cooperation today, he can do it alone tomorrow. Scaffolding, as you can see here in the diagram, there is a two circle which is MKO, stands for more knowledgeable others, and the other one which is the learner. Scaffolding. In Vygotsky theory, closely linked to the concept of ZPD is the idea of scaffolding. After this, we will learn all about the CPD. So, scaffolding. What is scaffolding? Scaffolding is a technique that involves changing the level of support for the learners. Scaffolding is tailored to the needs of students with the intention of promoting deeper level learning. Scaffolding. Over the course of teaching, a skilled person adjusts the amount of guidance by keeping in mind the readiness of the learners. So these are the features of scaffolding. The interaction between the learners and the expert called MKO. So which is stand for more knowledgeable others take place. The interaction should be collaborative for it to be effective. So this MKO stands for more knowledgeable others. These are the parents, teachers, other peers who have more knowledge on a such task. So number two, it should take place in the learner's zone of proximal development, or what we call CPD. The expert should be aware of the learner's current level of knowledge. So as a teachers, we should know the level of our student about the knowledge on anything so that we can provide them a support for them to be able to learn more. So this is the zone of proximal development. Scaffolding, the interaction between the MKO and the learners, guidance of knowledgeable person. As you can see, there is a three circles, which is the first one is what is unknown. What is known? What is known is this is all the knowledge that has been teach in the learners already. And and second one, the guidance of knowledgeable persons, or which are the MKO. The third one is what is not known or new skills for the learners. So in zone of proximal development, um, Example of this is as a student is able to perform a simple addition when working with a teacher or a parents, but frustrated when performing the task alone. As we go back from our school or grade school, um, we we tend to be more frustrated or peer when we are doing tasks alone, while when we have a MKO or our teacher's parent, we can do it simple. So that is the zone of proximal development. Next is another features of scaffolding. The support and guidance provided by the expert is gradually removed as the learner becomes more proficient. So which means as the learner learns more, the expert or the teachers is gradually removing their support in order for the learners to be more independent or rather dependent. So this is a graph which is guidance and competence, as you can see there. So in a scaffoldings of Sir Lev Vygotsky, there are tools here. Number one is the physical or verbal cue to recall previous knowledges. So when we go back in the our past grade school, senior high school or junior high school, our teachers tend to help us by providing a physical or verbal cue to recall our previous knowledges. Number two, explaining the new content. So again, back when we have a new lessons or new lessons, teacher is explaining this one by one or step by steps in order for us to gap or accumulate a proper informations. Then next, diagram to represent new concept. So this diagram in a learners, it helps us in order to figure out what is next or what is happening right on our lessons. So demonstrations with models. So again, go back to grade school, senior high school or junior high school. Our teachers tend to have a model which they use to demonstrate on how a something function or works, especially in science. I know you can relate it. So daily life example. Daily life example, it is a what you can recall from your own experience and apply it on your own. Tools of scaffolding. So next is audio files and animated videos. So as you can see, when we go back from grade 7 to 9, we have a what we call this tanghalang pasigenyo. And tanghalang pasigenyo is example of audio files and animated videos. So next is field trips. Oh, I know more of you are related about this field trip. Science experiment. This is another tools. In science experiment, um, science experiment. So example of this is the on how the volcano works. Demonstration of this, the tools you need to use in order to achieve this. And next is discussion. So discussion, this is popular for all of us because right now I'm doing it. Next is problem solving. Problem solving is all about you know um, particularly in math. There's several problem solving in there, and we tend to answer it properly or improperly. So next, so conclusion. Teachers who use scaffolding circulate around the classroom and give time assistance to the learners. They also give learners the time to grapple with problems and guide them when they cannot make progress. So, scaffolding is all about the the ano the teacher support for the learners in order for them to do a task properly and make it no no and make the student do it alone or more dependent to their self. So next is oh that's all. Thank you.
So good day everyone, my name is Japik Pusaga and I'm going to report about situated learning theory. It was proposed by Jean Leib and Ethan Wanger. So first, who is Jean Leib? So Jean Leib, her life works challenges conventional theories of learning and education. She completed her doctorate in social anthropology at Harvard University in 1968. Jean Leib is a social anthropologist who theorizes learning as changing participation in ongoing changing practice. So Jean Leib is an anthropologist and she was graduated in Harvard in 1968. So next is Ethan Wanger or Ethan Ethan Charles Wanger. So he is an educational theorist and practitioner best known for his formulation of the theory of situation cognition, or that's what I'm gonna report. So, and his more recent work in the field of communities of practice. So, first, what is situated learning theory? So, the situated learning theory is a theory that explains an individual's acquisition of professional skills and include research on apprenticeship into how legitimate peripheral participation leads to membership in a community of practice. So, sabi nga dito na yung situated learning theory daw is nakukuha mo yung skills mo to mm, through your through professional skills and galing sa sa community or na-adapt mo yung skills ng iba. So, once na na-adapt mo yun, magiging member ka na rin ng community na yun. So, situated learning theory has a three main concept. First, authentic context. So it says that how knowledge to be presented. So in this authentic context, they uses activities from the professionals. And next is legitimate peripheral practice. Learning is embedded in culture, activity, and context. So natututo tayo through the culture of other peoples or professionals, activities, and context. And lastly is the community practice acquired from collaboration and interaction. So, every time na nagko-collaborate tayo or nag-interact tayo sa ibang tao, natututo rin tayo and it is a way to gain knowledge or skills from interacting to others. So, I have here a diagram that shows the authentic learning environment. So, it says that beginner or novice. Para maging master ka or experts, dadaan ka sa collaboration, interactions, and engaging. So, gagawin ko example dito is about um, when we were in grade 1 or in kinder. So, ano, um, beginner pa lang tayo or novice tayo nung pumasok tayo sa school. And dahil sa mga professionals or what we call teachers, natututo tayo para mahasa yung skills natin and maging master tayo sa isang bagay or hindi naman totally master, alam natin kung anong gagawin dun sa bagay na yon. And once na na-practice natin yung skills na yon, nagiging part na tayo ng ano, ng community na nasasakupan ng pinasukan nating environment. So next is paano nga ba tayo natututo sa ano sa situated learning theory? So ito yung mga examples. First is field trips. So bakit nga ba field trips yung isa sa best example ng ano ng situated learning? So field trips pupunta tayo sa ibang lugar or sa ibang environment para matuto sa mga professionals and para mag-gain na rin tayo ng knowledge about things within in our environment. So, kada pumupunta tayo sa mga lugar na, for example, sa mga factory, nakikita natin yung mga skills na ginagamit nila and ayun, nakikita natin kung paano nila pinaprocess yung isang gamit or natututo tayo kung ano yung ginagawa nila through field trip. So, next is internships. So, yung internships is in college, we call it OJT and on the job training. So, training, from the word itself, training, tinitrain tayo ng mga professionals. And, for example, kaming education, tinitrain kami ng mga teachers to, para malaman natin yung, dapat namin gawin pag kami naging teachers na rin. And, dito sa internships, mas kailangan natin to kasi ma-acquire natin yung mga skills na dapat nating matutunan sa ating tinahak na professions. So last is the cooperative placements. So dito naman, just like what I've said earlier, um, through interaction with others. Yan, natututo tayo kapag nakikisalamuha tayo sa iba and kapag ayun nga nag-interact tayo sa kanila, hindi lang tayo natututo, natututo rin sila and we share knowledge and tawag dito, parang brainstorming yung nangyayari and we share knowledge and we gain knowledge from them. So, in short, situated learning is um, natututo tayo sa bagay depende dun sa sitwasyon na ating tatahakin. So, for example, gusto mo maging teacher, so yung path na susundan mo is kung paano maging teachers and ano yung mga dapat gawin para maging isang ganap na teachers. So, that's all in situated learning. So, thank you for listening and yan lang.